This Real English vocabulary podcast accompanies the ebook that you can download at zapenglish.com.
In this unit, you'll learn words and phrases for tasks and responsibilities. In other words, the things people have to do every day in their jobs. You'll also develop your listening skills on this topic. Here we go. Vocabulary 1. Listen to a list of tasks and responsibilities. Part of the phrase is missing. Do you know which word could go in the gap? Photocopying. The phone. Admin. Take. Clients. To meetings. Decisions. Presentations. To conferences. Deadlines. Customers. Problems. Reports. Give or follow. Vocabulary and listening 1. OK, so now let's hear some people describing their tasks and responsibilities. Can you hear any of the complete phrases?
The kind of things I do in my job, I answer the phone for clients. They forward their mobile phone to mine and I answer the company's calls that I'm working for. I take messages and then email them back to the client and I charge per call. I go out to meetings. I usually take my laptop with me and meet either in local cafes or, again, anywhere that has Wi-Fi. Being my own boss, I tend to make my own decisions on things, whether it means the kind of work I get or how I'm going to go about doing a job. I do most of my work and admin at home. I'm probably at home 80% of the time.
OK, hello Keith.
Hello.
I've just given you a list of things that some people do at work, yeah? So have a little look at those and tell us which ones do you do and which ones don't you do? And do you like them?
Okay. Well, the first one is do photocopying. I don't do a lot of photocopying, but I do print a lot of documents from my computer, and we use the same machine as the photocopier. I used to answer the phone a lot, but I don't do so very much anymore. I do admin, but I don't like doing it. I'm very lazy and I usually don't do it properly. I sometimes take messages when some clients come, so I often meet clients and we go to meetings together and we try to make decisions at those meetings, but sometimes when there's too many people at the meeting, no decisions are made.
Okay, so I used to be a probation officer. This is when we lived in North Yorkshire. And the stuff that I used to do and didn't used to do kind of varied. But as a general rule, photocopying, this was nice actually. Secretaries would do that for us, so that was great. And also the secretaries used to take the phone calls. So I would pick up the phone, but they kind of filtered through to you, so when you pick up the phone it's for you. That was kind of nicer aspect of the job as well. Admin there was a lot of, which none of us particularly liked that much. We had to spend so much time on the phone and on the computer.
Vocabulary and pronunciation 1. OK, Let's check the meaning of the words and phrases from those 2 recordings and get better at saying them. Answer my questions or try and complete the sentence, then listen to the answer and repeat at the beep. Which tasks uses paper and a machine to make copies? Do photocopying. Do photocopying. Or we can use it as a verb. Photocopy. Photocopy. Can you photocopy these for me? We do the next thing at home and at work. It's a very common action. Answer. Answer the phone. Answer the phone. She never answers her phone. When you answer another person's phone because they aren't there, you may take a message. Take a message. He's not here. Take a message. There's a general expression that means we do things with paper and information to organise them. To do admin. Listen, the W sound in do joins the sound in admin. Do admin. Do admin. I do a lot of admin in my job. Lots of people have to do this every week in their job. Go to meetings. Go to meetings. I have to go to meetings 3 or 4 times a week. When we work for a company that does something for people, for example, if we're lawyers or designers, we call those people our clients. Clients. I meet my clients in the office. Everyone has to do this next one. Maybe you have 2 choices. You can do A or you can do B. You need to make a decision. Make a decision. I have to make difficult decisions. Vocabulary 2. This time you'll hear some questions. Again, which phrase about things we do at work do you hear? And how would you answer the questions? Have you ever given a presentation? What about? Do you ever go to conferences? Do you always meet your deadlines? What do you think is the most difficult thing about serving customers? What do you do to help you solve problems at work? Do you have to write reports? In your job, do you give instructions or follow instructions? Vocabulary and listening 2. Now let's hear some people answer the questions. Do they give answers that are the same as yours? Have you ever given a presentation? What about?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I've given tons of presentations. And you know what, if you ask me, I hate that. I hate giving presentations unless it's on a subject that I really, really enjoy and like. But professionally, yes, I had to do a lot of presentations when I used to work as a sales rep. Except, the stuff that I was presenting was not really my cup of tea, so I didn't like them at all. Yeah, but it's always a challenge. A presentation is always a challenge. It doesn't matter how many times you've done it before, each and every time it's like, standing in front of all those people, and you do get butterflies in your stomach, and you can feel your legs shaking, and your voice suddenly goes away, and you can, your mouth is dry, and it's just terrifying. Yeah, but I have done it many times.
Not particularly in a work environment, but for my university course, as part of my speaking exam, we had to give a presentation, and I did about immigration in the UK, but that was in Spanish rather than in English. No, it was very scary, and you feel under pressure.
Yes, I give lots of presentations. Often they're about my ideas for new pieces of software to improve the product that we sell. And sometimes they're about explaining this software to clients when we deliver it to them.
Do you ever go to conferences, or have you ever been to conferences with your work?
Yes, in my work, we often go to conferences, language ELT conferences, language conferences, gatherings of professionals who do the same thing, and that's always fun. I do enjoy it because there is always something new to learn. There are always new ideas that you can share with everybody else. If you have a group of people who have the same interest and they're all in one room, something nice is bound to happen, sooner or later. And so I always look forward to conferences because they're not just professional events. They're also social events, and you get to know people face to face whom you may have only heard of, or people whom you knew only from online encounters. Now you can actually listen to them and talk to them face to face, and that's always a fun thing. However, they don't happen very often because most of the time, we have to be in a classroom and work, not spend our time jet setting between one conference and another, which is too bad.
Yes, I go to conferences from time to time. Recently, we had a big conference and I had to go to Birmingham, which is about 200 miles south of where we live and work.
Do you have deadlines in your job, or did you have deadlines in a previous job? And do you, or did you, always meet your deadlines?
This is a tough one. Yes, there are always deadlines. No matter what you do professionally, there are deadlines. And this has always been very tough for me because I am the procrastinating type. I am the kind of person who would always look for excuses and find ways of putting things off until the very last minute. When things need to get done, they need to get done, and there really isn't any. There are no two ways around it. You have to do it. In my case, I always do it at the last possible moment, and but I hardly ever miss the deadlines. I don't think I ever have in the past missed the deadline. So all in all, I'm pretty good at that, working to, as they say, to tight deadlines. This is one of those key phrases that they use in job adverts, isn't it? That they say, well, can you work to tight deadlines? Well, yes, I can, but it takes its toll on me. Yeah.
I don't always meet my deadlines, but I always have a good excuse for when I don't meet them.
What do you do to help you solve problems at work?
I talk to people. I think this is always the best way, communication. When you don't leave things undone, when you have doubts or when you have problems, you simply ask.
To help myself solve problems at work, I often talk to my colleagues to try and get ideas from them. And sometimes we have meetings, and lots of times I brainstorm. So I write lots of notes on a piece of paper and try and make ideas from there.
Do you have to write reports?
I sometimes have to write reports, usually once every few weeks, and I'm writing reports to tell my manager how close we are to meeting our deadlines.
In your job, do you give instructions or follow instructions?
That's a good question. I think in my job, I obviously do both. I give instructions to my students, and I even have special instructions checking questions to make sure that they understand what the instructions were. So yes, this is part of my daily routine, so to speak. It's bread and butter of what I do, giving instructions and making sure that people understand what I want them to do at a particular time. And of course, but as any other employee, there are bosses above me who, pass their instructions on to me. And unfortunately, they don't ask many instruction checking questions. They just give you instructions, and you have to follow them.
In my job, I take instructions from my manager, who tells me to do lots of different things. And I also give instructions to my team, and they're the people who do the real work. I like giving instructions more than I like taking instructions.
What do you think is the most difficult thing about serving customers?
I think the most difficult thing about serving customers is that sometimes you have to serve people that you don't necessarily like or agree with. Or sometimes you can overhear people say things that you don't agree with, but you have to keep your mouth shut.
I think the most difficult thing about serving customers is maintaining a smile when the customer is angry with you. That's very difficult.
Vocabulary and pronunciation 2. Let's check. Complete the sentence and repeat after the beep. To stand up in front of a group of people and tell them things about a particular topic, often using a board or things they can look at while you talk, is to give a presentation. Give a presentation. She gave an excellent presentation. You may listen to people giving presentations if you go to a place with lots of other people who do a similar job to you. You may have meetings, listen to people talk, and get to know more about what's happening in the world with your job. This is to go to a conference. Go to a conference. He goes to medical conferences all around the world. What do you have to do if you have to have some work finished by a particular time in the future? You have to meet a deadline. Meet a deadline. I've got lots of deadlines to meet at the end of this month. If you work in a shop or on the counter at a bank, people come in and you have to help them. You serve customers. Serve customers. I serve about 50 customers every day. When there is a difficult situation and you need to make something correct, but it's not easy, you have to solve a problem. Solve problems. We have some difficult problems to solve. If you have to write lots of information down on the page and give it to someone so that they can understand what's happening in a situation, you have to write a report. Write reports. I have to write a weekly report for my boss. When you tell people what to do, you give instructions. Give instructions. It's important to give clear instructions. And if someone gives you instructions, you follow instructions or take instructions. Follow instructions. Please follow my instructions carefully. So, at the end of this unit, you should be better at understanding people talk about their tasks and responsibilities, and maybe be better at talking about them for your job. Well done!
Remember, there are some extra tasks to help develop your vocabulary in the accompanying ebook from zapenglish.com.